Blog Talk Radio.
Happy Thursday afternoon, everybody. This is Patrick Allman, your host for episode 3 of our Stop Doing Nothing, the show for high achievers blog talk radio show. It is Thursday. What is today? Today is Thursday, December 13th, 4 p.m. Central Time. My name is Patrick Allman, and this is like I just said, this is the talk radio show for high achievers, and you should be listening live at blogtalkradio.com/stopdoingnothing. This is a weekly show that and I'll have some other people hosting this eventually, where we talk about the things in life that are helping or inhibiting you from being a high achiever, and what you can do in life to change your habits, to change your time management, how you think about being a high achiever, and how do you get to there from here. Most people in life are just kind of on automatic pilot. They're kind of idling their way through, and towards the middle to the end of their lives, they're kind of wondering how come they're not really where they want to be. And I believe it's all because of thought processes, because of feelings, because of habits, because of time management. And if you want to be a high achiever, you have to learn how to manage these things in detail. And that's what this show is about. We are here every single Thursday at 4 p.m. Central, so get this on your calendar. That's your first good habit today, because we're going to be talking about habits here shortly. But get this show on your calendar every single Thursday at 4 p.m. Central. If you can't listen live, then you need to go bookmark the website where we broadcast live and where you can listen to the recording, and that would be the main Stop Doing website at stopdoingnothing.com. You can also bookmark the radio show directly at blogtalkradio.com/stopdoingnothing. If you are listening live, we have some really cool features here. You can actually interact with me and chat with me live right now if you are listening, and you do that by going to blogtalkradio.com/stopdoingnothing. Scroll down to the bottom, and there is a chat room. If you like what you're hearing, please share this on social media. Go like our Facebook page. Go like Twitter. There's various different things you can use to interact with us here. If you hear something you like today, if you hear something that's exciting, you can call in and chat with me also live. And the call-in number is 424-222-5282. Compared to all other shows, our shows actually is going to go pretty quick. We're on from 4 to 4:30 every Thursday. And then, like I said, if you don't listen live, there's various other ways, even via iTunes, that you can follow on and subscribe and listen on various mobile and computer-based devices. The title of our show today is called, What Are Your Habits Doing to Kill Your Dreams? If you've listened to any of our other previous shows, you know I'm a big fan of effective time management and the right way to manage your life. And one of the essential things that I believe will help or hinder your success in life are the habits that you practice on every single day basis. Like I mentioned earlier, I just believe that most people are just kind of running around on autopilot. They have the 8 to 5 job, so they know they have to get up at 6 o'clock. They have to take a shower by such and such time. They have their cereal. They have their coffee. They shave. They shower. They shave. They have breakfast, they get on the road, they go to work, and they just kind of sit there in a daze doing the things they automatically do every single day. And then you do the regular thing. You get off at 5:30, let's say, and you head home. Maybe you'll stop and you'll kick off your shoes, you'll plop down from the TV with the remote. You might eat a TV dinner, you might have dinner with your family, and then you go back to bed and you go to sleep, and you're the same habit all over and over again. And then you really look forward to the weekend. At least most people I know really look forward to the weekend, because that's the time where you get to do nothing. Most people I know just love Saturday and Sunday morning because they can just lay around and do nothing. And by Sunday afternoon, you're kind of whining and complaining again about the fact that, Monday you have to get up again and do that boring, mind-numbing 40-hour routine that you have no control over. Most people I know believe they don't have any control. I have no control over it. I have to be at this job from 8 to 5. It's not my choice. It's not a habit, Patrick. It's someplace I have to be, or else I'll get fired. Well, that may be the case, but we're going to talk about some ways that we can adjust that and maybe adjust your attitude as to how you're thinking about that. But again, the whole example I gave is an example of how I think most people are running around on autopilot. Now, what I want you to do right now is to really focus on my words and maybe even take some notes here, because I want you to review some of the habits that you have. They could be good, they could be bad, but I want you to review, go through your week or go through your month or even go through your day and think about some of the things that you just kind of do on automatic pilot. Lunch or maybe a certain group of restaurants. Do you have a habit about certain things that you do every single morning? I have a morning routine from the moment the alarm goes off to when I turn it off to when my feet hit the ground for probably the next half hour. Do you have a habit for that? What's the last thing you do in the evening? Is there something you do every evening? Do you watch half an hour of TV? Do you kick your feet up? Do you maybe read a book? What kind of habit do you have there, good or bad? And like I mentioned earlier, what do you do on the weekends when you're not dedicated to your job all week long? What kind of habits do you have on the weekend? Now think about some of your idle time. What websites do you always visit? Are you always spending time on Facebook? Are you always spending time on social media websites? Are there certain funny humor websites that you're always spending your time on, or on news websites, or on meme websites, or on gossip websites? Are you a frequenter of TMZ? And also think about, those blocks of time where you don't have appointments. How are you spending your idle time? Do you spend all of your idle time on the internet just poking around, just reading TMZ and Drudge Report and Fox and CBS and ABC and NBC? How do you spend your idle time? Or you can also look at your schedule and decide if you even have any habits. I mean, there are people that just kind of, from the moment they wake up until when they get to work, or maybe till after work until they actually go to sleep, there's no habits. It's a bunch of open space, open time there, and there's nothing there really to fill it. They're not doing anything with that time. Are you someone who goes out and drinks on a regular basis, or do you hang out with your friends at a certain place on a regular basis? Are you a coffee shop lover like me? I mean, that's another possibility, is that you are go to a certain coffee shop on a regular basis. So as I'm talking about these things, I want you to take some notes about some of the habits that you do on a regular basis, because sometimes they're subconscious and you don't even know them. You just do them by default. About what habits do you fall into when somebody else calls you and asks you to join their habit? And here, as an example, I'm talking about maybe the friends that call you and they're like, "Hey, are you not doing anything? You want to come out for a drink?" And they do that every, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night. I'm sure you know some people that, they are just ready and willing to go drink every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night. If they don't do it on their own, they're waiting for someone to call them. And when someone calls them, they'll drop everything to do them. And let's go have a drink. It's past hump day. So take some notes on the habits that you have. And then after you're done taking notes on those habits, and by the way, it's perfectly acceptable to have a completely blank sheet of paper. If you have no habits, if you have nothing you do on a regular basis, then having a complete blank sheet of paper is also okay. But when you look at your habits, I want you to see how many of those habits that you have that you're, one, very happy with, that you're very proud of, and that are getting you towards where you want to be in your life, or as I call it, your dream day. If you've listened to my previous shows here on Blog Talk Radio, and please go do that if you haven't yet, I constantly talk about this concept of having a dream day. And that's when, after the alarm goes off, if you even have an alarm, from the moment your feet hit the ground to the moment you pick them back up again in bed, you are doing only the things you want to do, or the things that make you happy. So look at all those habits that you've written down, or some of them, and try to align them with your dream day, or your dream life, or your dream week, if you will. And I'm just kind of curious, and obviously you can't answer me, but think about that for a second. Think about how many of those are lined up. If you don't have a list of habits, or you're just kind of curious how you spend your time during the week, I would also encourage you to try an exercise after the show's over here in the next week or two, and I can attest that I do this personally. If you don't have any habits, spend some time just tracking where you spend your time during the week. Again, if you've liked the fan page at facebook.com/stopdoingnothing, or you've listened to previous shows, you know how firmly I believe that time management, and I'm not slamming my fist on the desk right now, but time management governs everything in life. So take some time, and from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, look at how you are spending your time. Log it. Here's what I've seen some real professionals do. Log your time. Are you someone that has an assistant? Have an assistant follow you around for an entire day or an entire week and log every single minute. That seems kind of ridiculous, I know, but you know what? It's a good exercise. I'll tell you what I do. I spend a lot of time writing or helping people in front of my computer. And one of the things I will do is I run a program called Rescue Time, just like it sounds, RESCUE time at rescuetime.com. And Rescue Time actually runs in the toolbar of my Mac and watches minute by minute and second by second what I'm doing. It tracks my time better than I could ever track it. It tracks how much time I'm spending on each website, how much time I'm spending each program, so it knows how much time I'm spending at TMZ.com or Drudge Report or in my Gmail account or on Blog Talk Radio or on Tony Robbins' website. I can't make up stuff and I can't lie. The computer is tracking my time. Now, of course, that only applies when I'm in front of the computer, but I could also log outside time if I want. But if you've ever wondered, how do you spend your time when you're at your computer, look at getting a piece of software called Rescue Time. I use the free version, but you can get it from rescuetime.com, and just have the computer log second by second by what you're doing. And look at that time log. Look at the time, look at minute by minute and second by second for an entire week in your time log, and see, how much of this stuff in this graph is lined up with where I want my life to be in a year, or in 5 years, or in 10, 20, 30 years. This is how you're going to decide what habits you're going to start undertaking. What new habits are you going to start using, and what old habits are you going to break? Ideally, to achieve your dreams in life, most of what you do is going to be lined up with a goal or a dream or a wish someplace along the line. That's the only way you get to your dream day. You can't look at all the time that you manage and you're lined up and then kind of be disappointed at the end of 5 or 10 years going, well, how come, I thought I would have had a book written by now. Well, you know what? Look at where you spent your time over the past 6 to 12 months and figure, okay, which habit was lined up with you writing a book? If you're unhappy with the way you feel physically, you're unhappy with your health, you're unhappy with how you look or your goal weight or whatever it is physically, look at your habits when it comes to your meals. Look at your habits when it comes to your exercise. If those things aren't lined up with your goal weight, and your goal weight should be a specific number or a specific fat percentage or a specific muscle content, you are never, ever, ever going to get to that goal weight. One of the things that really frustrates me in life is people that complain about not having something or not being at a certain spot where they want to be in life, and you talk to them and say, what do you do on a regular basis? When it comes to writing your book, what did you do yesterday? How many chapters did you write? Okay, so you didn't write a chapter. How many paragraphs? How many words? How many sentences? Oh, you didn't write anything? Well, you know what? Then it should be no surprise that you don't have a book. When you talk about people that may be overweight, they're just not feeling their best, and of course, let's not count outside health conditions. That just doesn't apply. I understand those. But when someone complains about just feeling sluggish or not being at a target or a goal weight, ask them sometime, what did you eat? What did you eat yesterday? What did you eat this morning? What did you do for exercise recently? If those things aren't lined up with your goal weight or your goal health objectives, you are never going to get there. And so now what we have to do is we have to start figuring out what can we do to turn those into good habits, and how can we get those lined up with the life you want to achieve. For those of you that are listening live, if you have anything you want to comment about, the call-in number is 424-222-5282. Again, this is Patrick Allman, and we are talking about, on Stop Doing Nothing Radio, the show for high achievers, we are talking about habits, good habits, bad habits, and the habits you need to have to get where you want to go in life. Now, the reason habits are so important is that outside of winning the lottery, we don't achieve anything great instantaneously. I live in Oklahoma, and I believe just in the area recently, our lottery got up to $500 million or $700 million, some disgustingly huge number, which is awesome for the people that want it. But you know what? Outside of that, people don't do great things instantaneously. You don't hear about somebody coming out of high school, going into college, and all of a sudden they're the best basketball player in the world. You know what? No. They, all throughout high school, all throughout junior high school, all throughout primary school, they were working on being great. It started a long time ago. And the same is going to go with you. And the things that started a long time ago are good habits. Here in Oklahoma, we have a basketball player named Kevin Durant, number 35. If you're someone who knows anything about the NBA, you know who Kevin Durant is. You can look at his history. You can look at any sports history, any sports player's history, and see that these people have habits that are lined up with where they want to be in life. It's not important for them to go out drinking or to hang out with their friends. Those aren't the highest priorities. The highest priority is them to be the best at a particular skill level, because that skill level is going to get them where they want to be. Whether it's in the NBA, whether it's in the corporate world, these people have habits. The habits are ingrained in them. They know that on a given day, they will be doing this for their body. They know that on a given day, they will be working with a particular coach, whether it's a business coach, whether it's a physical coach. They know that on that given day, at that given time, they are set to work with this person, and that appointment cannot be moved. That is part of being great at what you do, is you set habits. Now, I talked about outside of winning the lottery, we don't achieve anything great. We have to get into regular habits. Now, how do we do that? How do we get into regular habits? Okay? I want you to start looking at how you spend your time and how you spend your bad habits, and what can you do to scratch all of that and start replacing with good habits. So if you have your calendar handy nearby, pull up a week, what your next week looks like. Right now we are on December 13th. So pull up what your next week looks like and look at all the open time slots you have. Now, without even seeing your calendar, I can tell you that for most people, that is all white space. From 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock, most of it's white space, maybe a meeting or two here and there. After 5 o'clock, it's all white space, and after midnight, it's all white space. They don't have anything lined up in there. And one of the things I've learned that helps me achieve my dreams, helps me achieve my goals, is to start getting rid of as much of that white space as possible and start putting my habits in there. Prepping for this show is a habit. Broadcasting this show is a habit. My exercise is a habit. I kid you not, you can look at my calendar and see on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m., I am hitting the weights at my local YMCA. On occasion, I might change it, but you know what? It's at least 3 times a week. And at another time, I'm lined up to be at the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I don't get there till 6:30, but it's on my calendar. There's nothing else scheduled in that time. From about 8 to 9, I have time scheduled to manage my email and manage my to-do list. And then weekly, I have appointments set up. And most of these things are getting me towards my ideal day, towards my perfect day. One of the things I'm really working hard on, just as a personal endeavor, is to stay organized and stay ahead of my email and my to-do list. So look at your calendar and start filling up your calendar with good habits. Are you someone that wants to write a book? Then your calendar should have regular weekly time marked off where you sit down and you're writing a couple of paragraphs of your book. It's not hard. If you're like me, you use Gmail calendar, you move your mouse over, you pick a time, let's say today is Thursday, you pick a time and you mark it off and you say, you know what, every Thursday from 7 time. You go to modify that, you make it daily, you make it weekly, whatever it is, you save it. Google automatically sends you a 2-hour reminder, or you can change it depending on how you want to do it. of when that appointment is due, and you know that is your writing time. I don't have to tell you about how getting to the gym on a regular basis is good for you. That should be in your calendar someplace. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. Make it walking time. Go out and walk a mile. Go out and walk, but you know what? Put it on your calendar and think about it in such a high priority that nothing can move it. Because inevitably what's going to happen is you are going to put a habit on your calendar, and right before you go out walking time, your buddy's going to call and say, hey, let's go have a beer. And you're going to be like, oh, I can walk whenever. You know what? Let's go have a beer. No, you have decided you want to be a certain goal weight. So what you have to do is stick to that habit. Don't let the bad habit of the beer drinking ever overtake the good habit of the exercise. Schedule your relaxation time. Are you a person that likes to putz around the internet? I know I am. There are plenty of humorous websites I like to go read. There are plenty of news websites I like to go read. I like to spend time on Facebook for business purposes. Schedule that time. You know what? Maybe you give yourself an hour every evening after work, 5:30 to 6:30. This is relaxation internet time. I have no problem with people that even schedule the relaxation time. Life cannot be all high productive, go, 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 Patrick, stop doing nothing stuff. You have to have time to let your brain relax. But look at that calendar when you have all that spare time and start putting your habits in there. Look at the dreams you want to do. Do you not have enough time in the day to do your writing or to do your exercise? Well, you know what? Look at your time management, a topic from a previous show, and you may have to adjust your. For me, it's 5:30 in the morning. That is a habit. I even have it on my calendar. What kind of sick individual am I? I have my wake-up time and my go-to-bed time on my calendar. I don't want to forget those. I know I have to be in bed by a certain time if I want to be up by a certain time to be productive. I drink 32 ounces of water every single morning. I'm sure you heard me talk about my water regimen. That's a habit that I've gotten into because that wakes me up really fast. Exercise, reading, hobbies, clubs like Toastmasters, like physical training clubs, like CrossFit clubs, those need to be habits also. Where are you spending your charitable time? What classes are you taking? Are you even taking any classes? If you're not taking any classes, get down to local Votech and find a $20 or $30 or $40 class you can take. And don't whine about not having the money or not having the time to change your habits, but yet you still have time that you're willing to dedicate to other habits. Don't tell me you don't have time to take a class when you have plenty of time to spend on Facebook clicking on the like button and replying LOL to people's posts. I have no problem interacting with people, but you can't spend 2 hours or 3 hours, or I think what the average is like 10 to 20 hours a week on Facebook, and then at the end of the week complain that, I didn't learn how to play the piano, or I'm still overweight, or I have never started my book. You can't. There's no good excuse for that. So this entire show has been about habits, and I want you to take some time after this show. Go someplace where it's quiet. If you have kids around, tell them to leave you alone for another half hour. If you have a spouse, if you have a coworker, same thing. If you need to go out in your car, if you need to go to the library, if you need to go to a coffee shop, do it. But sit down with a blank piece of paper and write down what you have for bad habits and what you want to have for good habits. And don't make them amazing. One of your goals may be to write 50 books, but you know what? Don't worry about writing 50 books when you haven't written one. So if you haven't written one book, your goal becomes write my first book. And then after that, your goal becomes write my first chapter of my first book. And then once you've written down that habit, look in your calendar. Look in your calendar and see on that habit. And you mark it off. You etch it in stone on your calendar because you will never, ever write that book if you do not get that habit on your calendar. Highly productive writers spend a lot of time writing. When you look at a particular writer and you're like, oh my goodness gracious, how does he have time for 20 books? Well, you know what? He's not spending time on Facebook. He's not spending time out at happy hours. He's not spending time, watching cartoons on TV. He or she is not sleeping. I don't mean to constantly say he, but he or she is not constantly sleeping in late on Saturday or Sunday. Saturday and Sunday are just other days like the rest of the week. Don't look at Saturday and Sunday as, oh, I get to do nothing days. I wake up just as early on Saturday and Sunday as I do the other days. As a matter of fact, I'm more excited to wake up early on Saturday or Sunday because that is my time. Most of my clients are in the office from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, so they're not expecting anything out of me on the weekend. So when I wake up at 5:30 on a Saturday or Sunday morning, I know all that time is mine. I'm excited to get out of bed at 5:30 in the morning. So again, take out a blank piece of paper, look at your habits, see how you can refine those habits and see how you can get good habits on the book, and try to avoid having any blank white space in your calendar. Very effective method for managing your time, very effective method for managing your habits is get rid of all of the white space. Have a little bit of flexibility there, but get rid of all of that white space in your calendar because you're going to fill that with good time management habits and just good habits in general. This has been Patrick Allman. We've been talking for about, 26 minutes and 5 seconds on the Stop Doing Nothing radio show. I would encourage you to put this as a regular habit on your calendar. Listen live or listen recorded, I don't care. But on a regular basis, you want to tune in at about 4 p.m. radio.com/stopdoingnothing. If you want some other resources on how to be highly productive and highly effective with your habits, visit the website at stopdoingnothing.com. And also go like us at our Facebook page, facebook.com/stopdoingnothing. And believe it or not, we already have a Google Plus account. Google Plus just came out with communities, and there's a Stop Doing Nothing community on Google Plus, and there's a Stop Doing Nothing group on LinkedIn. You can apply for it, and I will approve you almost instantaneously as long as you don't spam. This show is every Thursday at 4 p.m. Central Time. Don't forget to tune in next week. If you like what you hear, please share it around. Share it with your friends, email it, share it on social media. I'd really appreciate that. We will be back next Thursday at 4 p.m. Central to talk to you about, I'm not quite sure what yet. I have my topic list outlined. I just don't have it in front of me. But we will be live here at Blog Talk Radio where we have a live call-in number for you and we have a live chat room number. Now, remember what I said. After you're done listening to this show, take out a blank piece of paper and go work on your habit list. I expect you by this time next week to have written down the bad habits you've gotten rid of, to have written down some of the good habits you're going to start doing, and for your calendar to be more full of productive time than wasted time. This has been Patrick Allman with StopDoingNothing.com. You have a great remainder of your Thursday or your Friday, and we will talk to you next week.